You're like a human movie jukebox. A movie comes up and you go right into a great quote.
Going to the quad. We're all getting naked, running to the quad. Oh, come on, guys. It's all ball bearings these days. Hey, forget about the fucking dough. Well, if this is it, old boy, I hope you don't mind if I go down speaking the kings.
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, Sad, Confused begins now.
I'm Josh Horowitz, and today on Happy, Sad, Confused, it's been 4 years since Michael Fassbender has been in a film. If I didn't like him so much, I'd be enraged. Luckily, he's gracing us with not one, but two new films, Taika Waititi's Next Goal Wins and David Fincher's The Killer. Okay, fine. All is forgiven. Michael Fassbender is back on the podcast where he belongs. Hey, Michael.
Hey, good to see you, Josh.
It's good to see you, man. It's been far too long. I know secretly why you're back. You know, this is your fourth time on the podcast, by the way.
I thought so, yeah. It all started, we did the first one with First Class, was it?
Probably First Class, maybe Frank even. It might have been Frank, First Class. Last time we chatted, it was you and Danny McBride, which was an interesting experience to say the least. And
that was an interesting experience. Working with him was interesting. God, I love him. He's so fun.
He's the best. But you'll be happy to know this puts you in the lead in the power couple. Alicia had 3, you had 3. Fassbender takes the crown, number 4. Congratulations, nice. Buddy.
Thank you.
So it has been a minute since we talked, but it's also been a minute since we've seen you in a film. I mean, I'm sure life stuff, pandemic stuff. Maybe you wanted to take a break. Give me a sense of like where were you at coming out of Dark Phoenix? Did you need a little break after that one, or what?
Well, for sure, after Dark Phoenix, the idea was that I always wanted to go racing, and the opportunity came about then with the Ferrari Challenge to start racing in that season in 2017, and then I really wanted to go further and do some GT racing, and then sort of got involved with Porsche, and then started that journey with the ultimate goal to race in Le Mans. And so the race season starts beginning of April and it goes to the end of October. So it's just it's a bit tricky to get insured to go filming, while doing that. But Next Goal Wins, we did shoot this time 4 years ago.
Right.
We shot it, end of 2019, and then obviously the pandemic hit, and then Taika was off shooting Thor, and for various reasons, it ended up sort of coming out now. So Anne also did Kung Fury 2, which
where is that at? I was going to say, what's going on, Michael?
I think there's just some legal wranglings going on there, but hopefully it will see the light of day. I mean, David Sandberg, he's such a creative person, and just the dream had come true for him. This is a guy that made first Kung Fury that went out on the internet practically in his bedroom, I think. So I really hope that comes together and it will see the light of day.
It's fun though, because between these, I mean, you mentioned Kung Fury in there too, but Next Goal Wins and The Killer. The Killer is, like, for me, the funniest movie of the year. I'll be honest. It is. And maybe that's my dark soul just emerging, but I laughed so much. This is secretly Michael Fassbender's year of comedy, I think. And I don't know if you, did you fancy yourself as a comedic actor prior to working with Taika, going to the darkness of Fincher's comedy? Is that a comfort zone for you, or did this feel a little bit out of your normal depths?
I always like comedy. In fact, when I first started acting when I was 17, I started with like comedy sketches. And, I've always, I knew, I still know Fletch off by heart, I think the whole film. So that was something that I watched on a loop when I was a teenager. But yes, it's obviously a challenge to do it right, to be funny. Right. And Taika obviously is a master, and it was just the opportunity to work with him, and for sure it was challenging. It's a lot of improvisation, so you've just got to go for it, and just sort of be prepared to fall flat in your face, and get up and try again.
Right.
And I loved it. It was just, a lot of fun, but also, challenging.
Quick aside, do you own rubber gloves?
I don't own rubber
Oh,
gloves.
no,
In fact,
you failed me. The Fletch reference. You
I'll
failed me.
never. Yeah, I'll never own rubber gloves again after using them in The Killer.
Oh,
And
see,
they were actually fisting gloves, to be precise. I
okay,
think
well,
we actually bought that company out of their fisting gloves. I think
right. They're
so.
done now.
So
They're
there's
out
a
of
shortage
business.
on the West Coast right now. Yeah.
I've noticed that from my orders. I can't find them. So if you can hook me up. So work. I mean, I would imagine Next Goal Wins. The reason to do this, among others, is to work with the mad genius that is Taika Waititi, because there's nobody like him. The way he runs a set, from what I gather, kind of organized chaos. It's a very positive atmosphere. Did you gel immediately? Did you speak Taika? Because he's on his own wavelength, certainly.
He definitely is. I mean, we had the first sort of Zoom meeting that we had, and we just sort of hit it off straight away, really. And then just on set, exactly what you said. It's a very, infectious sort of atmosphere. He loves being on set shooting. That's where he wants to be. And then, the supporting cast, just a great bunch of people. And so, yeah, we just hit the ground running, and again, it was a low budget, we had a fixed schedule to get it all done. So we had to kind of hit the ground running, but it was always fun.
How would you describe your facial hair in this one? Have you achieved new hair goals in this? Is this something that you feel sticky?
Sticky because it's a fake beard.
Right.
So that always it's always hard to not do things like this when you're laughing.
Right.
Beards, they're sticky and can be slightly restrictive. But every now and again, I like to grow a beard myself.
Yeah. Well, what about this? Is an interesting film in that, look, especially here in America, sadly, we are raised on this obsession with winning, right? Winning at all costs. This is a film not about the winners, certainly, and it's really not. It's a sports film, but it's not a sports film about succeeding necessarily. It's a sports film more about finding human connection and community. Were you raised in a competitive way? I mean, you obviously have a huge passion for racing. That is a competitive sport. Are you a competitive guy?
I'm competitive with not a lot of talent, so it's a very difficult headspace to be in.
Right. You're fucked, man. You're totally.
Yeah, it's quite torturous, actually. It's the worst sort of combo. Yeah, no, I think it's very interesting. You say that, we watch. Well, I certainly watch documentaries and, fascinated by people that have sort of reached a peak in whatever they do and that elite level of performance. But I guess, that's a rare thing. Most people experience failure, and it's sort of how you
Why
deal
are you
with
staring at me
failure.
like that? You just totally zoned in on me right there.
There's only one place I can look. I mean, and
fair.
it's, what I love about this story is it's just about community and doing it together, and, what it takes to get back up, try again, fail better the next time. I think that's a really positive message, and a very sort of heartfelt message. It's that beautiful speech that DeVita gives to Thomas at the end. He was like, well, come on, let's fail together then. It's like, you don't have to be on your own. So yeah, I just thought when I saw the documentary and just saw this sort of positive attitude of the American Samoan team, I just thought it was like, it's so infectious.
Yeah. You've been, I mean, it's talking about kind of silly competitive stuff, and it's always weird to talk about acting in a competitive way, but you've been nominated twice for Oscars. Did you find yourself getting sucked in where you were like, I need this, I want this, I want to take, I mean, obviously you're not going to want to take down actors you admire, but does that horse race
down?
Right. No, I heard that about you.
Marbles on the steps of
Yes.
the showgirls. No, I mean, listen, once you're in the mix, you're in the mix, and it's hard not to sort of get drawn in. I mean, to be honest with you, and everyone says this, but of course it's just a great honor to sort of be nominated in the first place. But for sure, you're thinking, there is a chance. Is there a chance? Could there be a chance? But like I say, just very privileged to just be nominated in the race.
Are there 2 sad slips of paper that still exist in a breast pocket of a suit somewhere with the acceptance speech?
You know what? I never wrote the speech, so I was gambling.
On your improv skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, coming full circle.
Not a good idea, actually. I was telling you for a best man speech. It was awful.
I would imagine improv doesn't come so much into play with Mr. David Fincher. Let's talk about my obsession with The Killer. I'm a Fincher obsessive lifelong. Where in the list of accomplishments does being the guy in a Fincher movie, seeing your name in the credits, working with this man for months at a time, stand? This must have been a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially what we were saying earlier. I was doing the racing season during the year, and then just got a call from David, and we started talking, and he had this idea. And I'd always said for years, I'd said to Connor, my partner at DMC, the production company that I have, I was like, what about films like La Samurai and Point Blank? I was like, I love this kind of film where it's all pared down and stripped down and mean and lean. And then, Fincher got in contact and had this idea.
Basically, La Samurai for 2023. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, it was just, I felt, so lucky to work with him. We had a great relationship. He's super generous. And it was just one of those really special moments and opportunities. And I loved the film, loved the whole crew that he's got, the precision that he goes about and how he works, high standards. It's just great. Feels super lucky.
Yeah, he creates a world that sucks you in. I found myself, I went to see it in the theater when it was playing, and then I had to watch it again the next day because it's one of those films that rewards multiple viewings.
Absolutely. I feel the same. And I thought, well, maybe people won't revisit it, but they do. And certainly when I revisit it, I was like, oh wow, you just see all the different layers and the detail, because everything, he is so detailed in the work. So I actually felt like I found more in that second viewing. So it's interesting you say that.
100%. So he also, he has like all the notoriety about him, about the unique way he operates. And I respect it. Look, I mean, he's not maybe for every actor, but like his perspective is film is forever. We're going to get it right. If it takes 5 takes or 100 takes, we're going to get it right. What else are we doing here, basically? And it seems like he almost likes to kind of, maybe this is the wrong way to put it, but to grind down an actor so that they're not even thinking about the acting. Like they're just kind of like doing it, like, not overthinking it in a way. Is that somewhat accurate? And did that jibe with your style, your approach to acting?
I would find that he searches for things through repetition. Right. Through repetition, things start to reveal themselves, and you can strive to, perfection you can achieve, I guess, but it is that target of perfection. It is the goal to find perfection. And exactly as you said, once the scene is done and you leave that day, you're not going to get a chance again. And we work, super efficiently. His crew, a lot of the crew he's worked with them on many projects, so they know it. So we're moving fast. If there is a lot of takes, we're going, we're moving fast. It's not a lot of, downtime sitting around. It's a very efficient set. And I really enjoyed that. And everybody is being treated the same way. So right. the dock grip, camera operator, sound, everything has to be, everybody is being communicated to the same way. And everybody is trying to reach that high standard. So I loved it.
Step into a world of non-stop action on DraftKings Casino. Play the classics like blackjack, roulette, and slots. Plus, enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. All you have to do is sign up, select the offer, make your deposit, and start playing immediately from a full suite of games. Download the DraftKings Casino app right now and sign up with the promo code HAPPYSAD. New customers can get a deposit match up to $500 in casino credits when you deposit $5 or more, only on DraftKings Casino with promo code HAPPY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly, 21 and over. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only, void in Ontario. 1 per opt-in new customer. Minimum $5 deposit. Max match $500 in casino credits, which require 1 times playthrough within 7 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/player's choice for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Folks don't know about the film. It's basically about a contract killer who kind of, no spoiler, I mean a little small spoiler, but in the opening kind of fucks up, doesn't complete the job, and then wackiness ensues for the next 2 hours in terms of trying to there's some reckoning that needs to be to happen. Here's my key question, having seen the movie a couple times: is the killer good at his job? Is he a good contract killer, or is he kind of shitty? Because he makes some very key mistakes that don't jibe again with the voiceover. He says one thing in the narration, and then he totally miscalculates for what we see on screen.
Well, I think that's kind of what's happening there. You're seeing the unraveling of this person and their process, and I think he is good at what he does, because obviously we see the fruits of his labor. Right. He had made a significant amount of money, so one would imagine he's been doing it for a while, since university and dropping out of that first career choice, and just by his age, one would imagine he's been doing it, I would say, for 15, 20 years.
Got it.
And at this moment in time, perhaps he's slipped a little bit, and we see cracks.
Right.
And certainly, at the end, you see the little crack with the twitch. So, that it's sort of, we meet him at a point where it's starting, I think, to unravel. I always thought as well, with somebody, like he says at the beginning, if you can't deal with boredom, this isn't the job for you. And that's the thing, he spends so much time by himself with these thoughts. There is a chance that one would go a little crazy.
Yeah. He has some very interesting kind of predilections and habits. He listens basically to one group, the Smiths. I mean, I guess if you're going to choose one group, that's not a bad one. If you had to choose one artist to listen to the rest of your life, Michael, what are you listening to for the rest of time?
Wow. Okay. Marvin Gaye.
Okay. Have you ever keyed into one artist for a role? I always remember the story. I think it was Daniel Day-Lewis for Gangs of New York was listening to Eminem.
I read that. Yeah, I read that. I was interesting. And when I watch back his performance, I can see some Eminem in there.
He loses himself.
I think I get quite obsessive when I like a song. I might listen to it a lot. In terms of, I think David Bowie, a bit for David in Prometheus, the man who fell to earth. I think there's definitely some inspiration there.
What is the challenge of, look, this is a role that calls upon a great degree of physicality and not much dialogue. And then we have, on the other hand, this narration that follows throughout. We are in his head, as you said before. It is a very specific kind of delivery you give in that for that narration. Was that easy to key into? Does David direct you in a very specific way of what he's going for, what he wants and what you want out of the killer's narration?
Yeah, for sure. The narration, we took great detail in delivering that. So I think it was 4 sessions we did. And it was, it's supposed to be obviously very intimate and finding a certain tone in the delivery. um David was like, I want to be super relaxed, so we actually came up with this system where I was lying down.
Oh my God.
And the cue cards were on a screen above my face and the microphone was here. We first tried it where I was face down, but I think everything got a little nasal. And in the end, yeah, I was lying in a bed. It was the most comfortable sort of ADR voiceover session I've ever done.
Sounds like therapy.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, we took our time. It was 4 sessions of that. And I was grateful for that, because obviously, it is the sort of inner workings of this character. And as you say, we don't hear him say much,
right?
On screen and with other characters. So it was important to get that, to get the right pitch for that, to get the right tone.
What does your own inner monologue sound like? Is it in your voice?
When I'm acting, it's, you're beautiful, you have a secret, you're a killer.
Is that only for this role or generally?
No, in general. I just change, obviously, the killer, whatever.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You're a coach. Yeah. You're a robot. Yeah.
So you're beautiful, you have a secret, you can bend metal.
You hate James McAvoy. Yeah, exactly.
Hate Charles, but like him, but love him, but hate him.
You have a hell of a fight in this one. It recalled for me the great Haywire fight as well. Did he have some flashbacks? How did this one compare to that?
Well, it's funny. I think, David sort of liked my character in Haywire, and I think that was the first sort of like maybe idea for me in this film. Yeah, it did remind me of Haywire because it was that thing of just messy, brutal, trying to do something that looks as sort of real and out of control as possible on screen.
True chaos.
Where a lot of times things can look a little slick, which is great. It has its place too, but this one was sort of down and dirty. And what's super interesting with the end result in the film is David's taken out all the grunting sounds, which makes it even more disturbing. So if you watch that scene again, you realize there's no you can just hear the impact hits. It actually makes the sort of the fight quite intimate, and even more disturbing.
The sound design from top to bottom in this. Now I'm gonna have to go back and notice that, but like the use of the Smiths and how it's received by the audience versus the character in different ways without ruining anything is really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, again, it's sort of like this guy puts together a hit playlist, but not the kind of hit playlist that you're used to.
No, the juxtaposition is perfect. Yeah, exactly. Also, you get to you get to be this cool contract killer in a David Fincher movie. And with all due respect, I don't know if he has the coolest wardrobe, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think it is the coolest wardrobe. Maybe bucket hats are going to come back into fashion thanks to this character.
Well, that was something very, early that we sort of, leaned in on, and it happened straight away in the first costume fitting because, obviously the comic book being inspired by Le Samurai. But Alain Delon looks amazing, with his hat and his suit. And we just started putting on, the costume, and it was like, I never wanted this guy to be cool. I always found him to be kind of socially inept. I didn't, it was a character for me that I don't imagine has any friends. The only person in his life is his girlfriend. And again, what he wears, we were just picking like the bucket hat. Everything was a little off. And I like that. And I thought, okay, this is somebody that could sort of disappear. You wouldn't notice them. Also, his wardrobe is something that he could buy in any airport.
Right.
All those things sort of made the costume very sort of specific to how he operates, as opposed to trying to get a cool look. So that, we worked against that straight away from the beginning. I
guess that goes to the diet of the killer as well, which is if there's no red flag that he's a psychopath, it's that he's eating like hard-boiled eggs and Ensure and egg McMuffins without the bread. Like this is not a well man.
Well, this is somebody, yeah, that doesn't really experience the sort of pleasure of eating. It's a purely practical
which
form.
juxtaposes, of course, with Tilda Swinton, right? With the Tilda Swinton character is totally the contrast there. She's enjoying her life.
Exactly. And maybe she's let her guard down a little bit there. And I felt like the scene between the killer and the expert, you know, the scene between that with Tilda was kind of like him looking in the mirror,
right?
You know, what his future was going to be like, you know, and how the end was going to come about for him in some weird way. It's like a mirror. That's what that's, you know, that's why, again, he's going against the mantra, you know, it's a big risk going in there doing what he's doing.
I also do love the aliases he adopts throughout, though I feel like it's so close to your sweet spot. So it's like, essentially, he adopts all these like 70s, like sitcom, like patriarchs, men from 70s, like sitcoms. And I know your sweet spot from our last conversation is really more of like 80s action. So I feel like it could have been, you know, B.A. Baracus, right? Or Magnum P.I., Thomas Magnum. Like that should have been the aliases for Michael Fassbender.
That's right. Or again, coming back to Fletch, you know.
Yes, of course. Like, yeah.
You know, or Babar when he goes to the doctor.
Exactly.
That was two B's? No, B-A-B-A-R. He's like, but that's two B's, but not right next to each other. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah. That did remind me of Fletch. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
So you bring up something that's come up in our last a bunch of conversations we've had over the years. Whenever I bring up a movie, we bring up a movie that we have in common, especially that one that you grew up with, that often is one I grew up with. You're like a human movie jukebox. A movie comes up and you go right into a great quote. So can I put you on the spot? Can I throw a movie at you that I hopefully feel like you know? And let's see if you've got something.
Okay, right. Do it.
All right. We're going to do some different categories. Let's start with comedies.
Okay.
Old school.
Cover your ears.
Earmuffs.
Bad words. Earmuffs. Going to the quad. We're all getting naked, running to the quad.
How about let's do a Fletch.
Okay. Fletch. Oh, come on, guys. It's all ball bearings these days. Hey. He burns himself on the engine of the plane.
Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. Okay. Forget about the fucking dough.
What's your Scorsese jam? You want to do Mean Streets? You want to do Taxi Driver?
Oh, in Taxi Driver, doesn't he have a conversation where the guy goes, what's the most dangerous thing when you're driving? Sneezing. You know, the scene where he's doing the interview for the job? It's
right.
So funny, because I've often thought about that when I'm racing. I was like, why don't I sneeze when I'm racing?
You have power over your... I would imagine. Yeah. And finally, Reservoir Dogs.
Okay, so it is like, you're like the world's smallest violin. It's terrible, though. It's half a quote.
You want to go to your own Inglourious Bastards? Do you remember any of your own lines?
Well, if this is it, oh boy. I hope you don't mind if I go down speaking the Kings.
Perfection. Love it. Still an all-timer. Let's reflect for a moment on the amazing roster of filmmakers you've worked with in your still young career, sir. You've been doing this a while, but we're just getting started. Okay, so most recently, Fincher, Taika Waititi, Steve McQueen, Ridley Scott, Danny Boyle, Cronenberg, Soderbergh, Terrence Malick, Tarantino, Andrea Arnold. Let's take a moment. Has that been the barometer for you, kind of like to chase the filmmakers you admire, because you want to be put in the hands of the greats? They're going to take care of you. They're going to make a great film.
Absolutely. You know, that's like, I feel so lucky, you know, to be in, you know, in that company, to work, you know, under the vision of these great artists. And that's what makes all the difference.
Yeah.
It really elevates anything I can do. And that is, you know, that's the simplicity of it. I mean, you know, making a film is super difficult anyway. You can put all the right elements in place and it just doesn't work, or the zeitgeist isn't there, or whatever else. So you really want to, you know, give yourself the best chance at getting it right. And, you know, working with you know, that great list of people you named, you know, that's just the education of being on a set with them is huge.
And many of them, you know, multiple times, obviously, which is remarkable too. You know, Ridley, for instance, you've obviously worked with a bunch.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, so you obviously did Prometheus, which I think I love and am obsessed with. Covenant, which was great in its own right, a different kind of take. But like there were plans to do more, right? And I guess we're never going to see more. But like at this point, can you say what was the plan for David going forward after Covenant? Were you excited about what was to come?
I had no idea.
Really?
I didn't know after Prometheus, whether we were going to be going on another journey. So I thought, what I loved about the whole sort of Prometheus sort of launching sort of the Alien sort of franchise in a totally different sort of way, and bringing AI into it, I thought it was fantastic. And this idea of creation, and where we were created from, and then this, this AI has then now become obsessed with the idea of creation, God, and I thought it was, super interesting because obviously it had such an iconic franchise with Alien and the Alien itself. So I just thought it was such an inspiring tangent that he took there.
I think as the years go by, I mean, it was celebrated in its time, but it's just going to grow in estimation. I feel like Prometheus and Covenant, I have to say, the sexual tension between David and Walter, you had great sexual chemistry with yourself. The fingering scene is going to be studied for ages.
Oh yeah, that was funny. That was like a lot of fun, and fighting myself. That was cool too. But yeah, I think the thing with the Walter and David is like you have one that is devoid of ego and the other that is just sort of drenched in it.
Right.
So it was just fun.
That's a fun contrast. Sort of,
yeah. And then a side part in the way. Simple.
Obviously, yeah, totally different, completely different people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like back in to use an 80s reference. Do you remember Knight Rider when David Hasselhoff would have the mustache as his evil twin Garth?
God, that's right. Yeah.
I love those episodes. He had a big truck
driving with the Goliath. Yeah,
Goliath. Yeah, and then the Trans Am was Knight Rider. Yeah. Well.
Do you want to save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tackling all of your holiday to-dos? I know I do. It's a struggle this holiday season, but that's where Factor can help. This holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Are you too busy with those holiday plans to cook? I know I am. Maybe you want to make sure you're eating actually well for your body. Well, with Factor, you can skip that extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping and the prepping and the cleaning and all of it while still getting the flavor and, yes, the nutritional quality your body needs. Are you looking for calorie-conscious options over the holidays? I know I am. What about calorie-conscious options that actually taste great? Tricky. That's where Factor can help you. You can try their delicious, dietitian-approved, calorie-smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. Head to factormeals.com/happysad50. That's happysad50 and use the code happysad50 to get 50% off. That's code happysad50 at factormeals.com/happysad50 to get 50% off today.
We've never really talked about your passion for racing, and it's really obviously become a big part of your life the last few years. And I saw you had a wipeout last year. Was that like as scary as it looked at Le Mans in 2022 when you crashed?
It was high speed for sure because it's coming towards the end of the Mulsanne Straight. Scary. It's never really that scary because when you're sort of sliding or heading towards the wall, you're just trying not to hit the wall or trying to figure out, what you can do in that moment. And then you're just thinking, God, I hope this isn't going to be like such a big impact that the car is going to be destroyed. So you're thinking about those things more than physical sort of safety. I guess that comes into play too, but mainly just sort of, a little embarrassing, really.
You know, I'm a 47-year-old man that doesn't know how to drive, Michael. So I've offered
Some
Vin
could say
Diesel.
the same about me.
That's not true. I've seen the video. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. No. Wait, do you have a license?
Obvious now.
I've offered Vin Diesel the opportunity to teach me, but I'm gonna open it up. If you want to teach me to drive one day, I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it next time. We'll do the interview in a car while driving, because it's good, you know, it's multitasking.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do while driving, is as many things as once.
Exactly. Yeah. Using your phone.
Right. It's the worst PSA ever. Are you especially critical of driving movies? Are you more of like a Days of Thunder guy or a Talladega Nights guy? What's your assessment of the Fast and Furious movies?
I like Talladega Nights, I gotta say.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people in the racing fraternity do as well, because we're always like, don't know what to do with my hands.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that. I love the Senna documentary.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are you at in terms of, we mentioned your beloved McAvoy, who I assume you haven't spoken to since you stepped off the set of Dark Phoenix. You were like, this is it? We're going our separate ways.
Every now and again, actually. We haven't met up in person in quite a few years now. I saw Nick Holt when I was in Nicholas. I saw him in New Orleans. He was shooting
the Renfield movie. Yeah,
exactly. And we were shooting The Killer, so I got to sort of hang out with him and catch up with him. You know, we always stay close. You know, even if I don't see him, you know, we sort of get back into the banter straight away. So I've just been texting with James, but we haven't managed to meet up in person, unfortunately.
Do you miss moving things with your mind? Do you miss the helmet at all?
No, you know, the pressure was getting to me in the end, moving stuff all the time on demand, all these kids asking me to do it. And I was glad hours left. I can't do it anymore.
Are you satisfied with your run? Obviously, Dark Phoenix was what it was, and maybe didn't turn out the way everybody hoped it would. But was it time for you? Like, do you feel like you did your time as Magneto?
You know, I think I had a great run, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And by the time, you know, Dark Phoenix was over, yeah, I was like, well, you know, I was lucky. You know, we had a fantastic run of it. But it is funny, that opening stuff I did do with this kid before was like there, and you know the way you can click open a boot in a car.
Right.
I had like the clicker in my pocket, and I did do that, and the boot of the car opened up. You know, and still too young to realize it was a trick. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the time, you know, and then it sort of came to its sort of, I think, natural conclusion.
Yeah. What does you make your life in Portugal, as I understand it, Lisbon? What does Lisbon have that New York doesn't, Michael? What are you just trying to stay as far away from me and everybody as possible? What's going on?
Well, I love New York, and I lived in London for 20 years. I do like cities, but I'm a country boy, you know, at heart. I grew up in the country, and I think at a certain point, I just wanted something with more of a relaxed rhythm. And I enjoy surfing, so I wanted to be somewhere that I had access to that. And Lisbon's perfect for that. You know, in 25 minutes, 30 minutes, I can be down on the beach. And it's just a lifestyle choice.
And and you need your distance. Where are you at on theater right now? Because I feel like we've talked about this before. I think it's been a long time since you've been on a stage. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, are you feeling that itch at all at this point, or is it like when the right thing happens, it'll happen?
There was one time where I thought Steve Jobs would be good on stage.
It would have worked. Did you ever seriously talk about it?
I didn't talk to anybody else about it. I just talked to myself about it.
Walked around muttering to himself.
You've been marvelous on stage. I just thought, wow, that's kind of the perfect script for a 3-act play.
It literally is in 3 acts. Yeah, it totally works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get on it. We'll talk to the powers that be. What is on the docket? I see a bunch of potential projects. Sadly, this Nancy Meyers thing, I guess, isn't happening. That would have been a fun one, I suppose.
Yeah, that would have been super fun. She's like great, and you know, we had great conversations. Yeah, it just didn't work out. So I don't know what the future of that project is. But it was a great part
Yeah.
script. So
and do you know
I'm
what the
not
next
sure.
one is? Like I see Hope potentially with Alicia. What
Yes.
else? What is that on the
I'm
docket?
super excited about that. That's going to happen some point next year. We're just trying to figure out when. I think they've already started shooting. And then, with my production company, we've been developing Night Boat to Tangiers, a Kevin Barry book, and he's written the screenplay for us. So that's been in development. And then we also have other projects at DMC that's in pre-production as well.
I have a follow-up question from our last conversation on the podcast 7 years ago, when we were talking about Star Wars, and you talked about that you had a conversation or two about it. Was the role Kylo Ren? You can say now. We have enough distance. It was Kylo Ren. Just blink twice if it was Kylo Ren.
Who is Kylo Ren?
Stop it. Adam Driver's character.
I can never remember the names.
Adam Driver's character. The bad.
Oh no, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No.
Oh. Okay.
It was Yoda's grandfather. It never made it in the actual movie.
Big Yoda. Yeah, they called him Big Yoda. Yeah,
Big Yoda. Yo, Big Yoda. Big Yoda in the house.
Yeah, he was a rapper, and he spoke backwards. What we might have had. Last great movie you saw? Have you been seeing anything? Did you Barbenheim?
Maestro.
Oh, so good, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't got a chance to see either Barbie or Oppenheimer.
Oh my gosh.
Because I know we were traveling around and there was no cinema that actually had it in English.
Got it.
So I kind of feel like I've missed the boat there. I do have a little cinema screen at home, so I'm going to watch it on that for sure.
Nice. All right. So
what about you?
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with. Well, honestly, the recent obsession is The Killer. I loved Oppenheimer. Poor Things, amazing. This is the time of year. This is all the good stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Poor Things. Yeah.
No, if you're a Yorgos fan, and Emma kills it, unbelievable. All right, so we're gonna end with the happy, sad, confused, profoundly random questionnaire, as if my questions already haven't been random. Here we go. Michael, what do you collect? Do you collect anything?
What do I collect? I don't think I collect anything. I'm not much of a collector, no.
Okay, not a hoarder. You're
well, I still actually, the toys that I had from when I was a boy, I still have them. Yeah, because my son's playing with them now, and that's quite nice. I was like, oh, I'm glad I was very particular, like keeping like all my Matchbox cars really like without scratches and stuff. And now he's just destroying them in like a matter of 2 days.
Action figure guy? Did you have like the Kenner Star Wars things or
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Star Wars. The Millennium Falcon's still there. I had the Ewok Village, Imperial Walker.
Love it. Have you decided which of your films to show your son first? Is it going to be? It's going to be Shame, right? You're going to start with Shame for him.
Start with Shame for sure. You know, just like this is what your mother was getting herself into. How do you think you came about?
You should learn about shame very early on. I did, so you might as well just watch the movie. Last time you danced, I fancy you as a dancer. You're a dancer, aren't you?
Yes, but it has been too long. Probably, at home with my boy. I was sort of dancing, trying to sort of start the day. Yeah,
very sweet. What's the wallpaper on your phone?
Chandelier. He calls it the drink song.
Oh, Chandelier.
Number. He was like the drink song, and then the other one was Diamonds of Sierra Leone. He calls that Twinkle Twinkle Fast. It's kind of brilliant, actually.
I'm so excited to move past you and start talking to the next generation of Fassbender. Discard Michael out of the picture. What's the wallpaper on your phone?
Picture of Alicia and my son.
Yeah, that is the correct answer. Are you the last actor you were mistaken for?
Oh, this is great. Ewan McGregor. I've signed pictures of him.
That's a collectible.
Yeah. It's like that's happened a couple of times. In fact, one time when I was in Austin, shooting the Malik movie, there was a guy that I got on one of those tuk-tuk cycle ones, and he was like, you look like the actor Ewan McGregor. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I was like, you look like Nicolas Cage, and he did look like Nicolas Cage.
Maybe it was Nicolas Cage. That would really put take the story to the next level. Most embarrassing, most movie you haven't seen that you're most embarrassed to admit.
Movie that I haven't seen that I'm most embarrassed. I don't know, actually.
Okay.
That one I should have seen Oppenheimer by now.
There you go. Okay, we're staying current. What's the most? There's nothing annoying about you, obviously, but if I had to ask your loved ones, what's the most annoying thing about Michael Fassbender? What's the habit, maybe, that people say, "All right, enough, Michael"?
I don't know.
He's perfect. He's perfect, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm just, there's a long list.
How about what do you hate? What do you hate about yourself? Let's do some self-loathing, some therapy.
What do I hate about myself? I hate my own self-loathing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What's the worst note a director has ever given you?
What's the worst note? Wow, what would that be? That would be, it's so hard to kind of say what the exact note would be. It would, because sometimes like what seems like a bad note from a good director is a good note. You know what I mean?
So at the time you're like, come on,
faster, and it's like, okay, yeah. But if it's the wrong director and they're not like, then any note can be a bad note.
Right.
But yeah.
It's more the delivery system than the actual note.
Yeah, sometimes the directors weren't even on set, so I was getting directed by the first AD.
Right. Okay, I can guess on some of those. That's not a conversation on Zoom, I think. What drives?
I did get directed by another director on Zoom as well.
Oh, some directing you remotely. That's what John Carpenter just did. That he came back to directing, but directed remotely.
I quite liked it, actually, because I could just walk away.
Like,
whatever. Yeah.
What's your pet peeve on a set? What drives you crazy? What's kind of like?
I guess the danger on a set is there's a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to sort of get engaged when you need to get engaged, and this sort of staying sort of in a space where you're attentive when you need to be. And sometimes I think when there is that space in between when you're working and the downtime, I think the danger is to fall into formulaic ways of doing things,
right,
rather than being in tune to what is actually happening now. So that is a danger that I'm aware of in myself.
Well, I suppose that's why, to bring it full circle, it's why folks, even though they're like, they couldn't be more different kind of directors, Taika, who keeps it so lively and loose and fun, is great. And then David, who, while very meticulous, you described as kind of like, it's not downtime, actually. It's like everybody, it's very focused work, and seems like you have to stay, you're staying in it. And that's where you want to be. As you said, the danger is in kind of like the mind wandering and getting out of your own head, right?
Absolutely. And I think, all those great directors that you mentioned, they have an ability of doing that in whatever style that they do it in.
Yeah.
Keeping people engaged and focused.
Is there one director left on the list right now who's on top of your mind that you're dying to work with?
Oh, there's so many great directors out there. We spoke about, I've always loved the Coen brothers.
Right.
They're fantastic. I mean, The Big Lebowski, I just think, what a genius script, and what
Son of Lebowski, Michael Fassbender, the first Coen Brothers sequel ever. He's old Yoda.
He's a bit of a child.
Yes, he's playing all the relatives now. Grandpa Yoda. What did we call it?
Yeah, when he was on tour with Metallica. Right. Wasn't he a roadie with Metallica? He says that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Excellent stuff as always, Mr. Fassbender. I hope it's not as long until the next time we meet. Congratulations. Honestly, these two films are fantastic. Everybody should check out Next Goal Wins. It's in theaters. The Killer, which should be in theaters. I'm just going to say it, but you can watch it on Netflix. It's amazing and worthy of your time. My best to the family. I'm very happy for you, man. And yeah, let me know when you want to start teaching me to drive. I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it, man. Great to see you.
Good to catch up. Thanks again, man. Have a good one.
Cheers, Josh.
And so ends another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Remember to review, rate, and subscribe to this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a big podcast person. I'm Daisy Ridley, and I definitely wasn't pressured to do this by Josh.